welcome back. I've got my foundation of my picture done, and I'm looking at this beautiful sunlit scene over here of our neighbor's trees and some grassy area where there's a low spot. So it's nice and green because it's got a lot of water over there. I am going to be starting way in the back up here. I like to do my skies because they're behind my trees, and I can put my tree over top of them and not have to go around them with sky color. So, I mean, you can do both, but I just prefer laying in that sky right away. And I've got a new brush, and I've mixed up some white, some titanium white, and some ultramarine blue, and also I have a radiant, this is a Gamblin color, radiant turquoise that I love to mix into my sky colors. Down toward the bottom, like closer to the horizon, the sky is a little bit more lighter and more turquoisey. The further up in the sky you go, especially overhead, it is a deeper ultramarine color. So notice that when you're outside, even when you're not painting, take a look and see if it's a blue sky, where the blues change. So I like to have both blues in my sky because that's mimicking what's happening. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and lay this portion in. My clouds are moving pretty quickly, so let's go ahead and get them in there. I want to make sure that I'm not too dark too. I tend to get a little bit heavy-handed in the blue because it's so pretty. So we're going to go ahead and just lay that in over top of our gold, our yellow ochre that's already there. And I'm going to put the clouds on top of this, but I'm going to get that down into the trees, coming down into the trees. And then I'm going to add some of that ultramarine sky color at the top here. See the difference? See that change? I love to do that because that really gives a sense of atmosphere that's coming down through the sky. There's more haze at ground level than there is above. So, and the clouds have changed. So we're going to just kind of make a cloud based on the references we have in front of us. And I will come back and further define these tree shapes with the sky color, but I'm going to start out with it being back there already. I'm going to wipe off the paint off this brush and get some pure white in there. And I am using a little bit of this solvent-free liquid to loosen up my white. I don't know why, but whites seem to always be stiff. So I'm going to add this white, pure white, on my background color and keep it out of the blue for a little while so that I can really make that white of the cloud. Just want to make sure I get that white established before I start blending the blue around it. Otherwise you end up with not so bright of a cloud. Let's see, let's add that in there. And then there is a darker underneath part of that cloud. I'm going to add a little, with a different brush, I'm going to add a little bit of alizarin to my blue. Alizarin crimson is a cool red, and the ultramarine blue, those together make a purpley hue. Not too purpley though. I don't want to go too purple. Maybe more blue. And some white. And I'm going to kind of put that underneath where the shadow is of that cloud. And it's just not white and blue. Okay, we'll hold on to that one. Go back to my white and kind of sculpt it a little bit. Blend. Get that in there. I'm going to blend that in a little bit. so that I've got a shadowy place and a bright place. I'm going to come back above it, add some more of that sky. Okay. There we go. Something like that. And I can work on that some more later. Make sure it's in there. Okay. I've got that underpainting that gives a nice warm color also to the sky. It's under there. There's little pieces that poke through here, so I'm going to save that brush aside, because when I want to go back to my sky, I will have a sky brush that I won't have to try and rinse out another brush to use the white again. Now the next thing that's really far back are these trees on this side. I'm going to put those in next with I can use my purple brush. I've mixed up ultramarine blue and yellow ochre, the same yellow ochre that we used for the background, and it makes a khaki. That is a great non-advancing green, and it's great for those dark shapes in the background that you want to stay in the background. If I put a vibrant color back there, even though I see some lighter areas, even though I see some truer greens, I'm going to start with this really khaki bluish, and I'm going to blur the edge between the sky and those trees because it's far away. Things that are far away are hazier than things that are up close. So I've got pieces sticking up. Let's see. I'm going to have this. Got to really pay attention. This is my darker tree, and then there's a lighter one behind it. So I'm going to fill this in, and then I can put another tree next to it. But I want to get this under here, because this darker green is really going to make this other tree color pop up in front of it. If I don't lay this behind there, it's not going to be as dramatic a change. This coming way out here. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So there is a lighter color tree back there. I'm going to bump it up just slightly with a little bit of lemon yellow in that same green mixture, because this lemon yellow that I have is Michael Harding paint. There's other lemon yellows that aren't as dull as this one. This one is a really, really cool yellow. Not cool as in not nerdy, but cool as in temperature cool. So you can see it's lighter, but it is not glaringly coming forward. It's just lighter. And I'm going to keep some of that underpainting showing. There. That might be all I do there. That might be enough. This tree in the front has a different kind of highlight. It has a whiter. I might even use some of this. I have a white that is a buff. Yeah. I have a buff titanium instead of the white titanium, and I think that's all it's going to need. So we'll add some highlights to that little tree with the buff. Everybody with me still so far? I hope so. I hope I'm making this understandable. We're going to go ahead now. See how I'm using the side of my brush? The bristles are very slick on the side, and I can lay that paint on top of a wet other underneath paint. There. And I can move it around without scratching. If I do this kind of motion, it's going to scratch, because these are bristle brushes I'm using, and they're very pointy, and there is some scratchiness to them. There, something like that. Actually, that's supposed to be darker down there. I have to make that darker. There. shadowy thing going down in here. Okay, that's a backdrop. The star of my show is this big tree here and this fence post. So I want to spend some more time on my greens that are going to be in this foreground. Let's see, I'm going to use the ultramarine as my base. And if I had a palette knife, I would do this with a palette knife instead of my brush, but I didn't bring one. So I'm going to get some of that beautiful blue, and I'm going to mix some of this lemon yellow into it. But that is still not what I'm looking for. So let's go up a little bit further in the brightness, or in the warmth scale, and I'm going to go with little cadmium, but I'm going to put some ochre in it too, so it's not completely bright, and see how that is. But it's still pretty dull. I'm going to have to go with more cadmium. There we go. I want to save my pure cadmium mixture for my foreground grass. So I think that's a good mid-tone. That's a good for sculpting my tree shape. And I'm going to add a little bit of that solvent-free liquid to it that I have today. And we're going to come out here. Looks like I could bring, let's see, bring it into the sky here. I think I want to bring that sky into the tree. Oh no. Let's add a little bit more sky up there. I can go back to my sky brush because I didn't ruin it with any other paint. It's still there, and I can just go ahead and add some of that sky color back there. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to chisel away some of that cloud too. Now the shape of this tree is important to note. Whenever you're doing trees, it's important to note the shapes of the leaves. Are they clumping together? Are they spiky? Are they pointing up? Are they pointing down? This one happens to be pointing upward. So I want to make some of those upward strokes. It's clumpy, but it's also reaching for the sky. And some of this is going to be even brighter, but I'm getting a mid-range up there, and I've got this other dark it's mixing into for the core of the tree. My light's starting to change, so I'm going to work on this a little bit more, and that's going to be it for this segment. Go ahead and, if you're painting along with me, get your sky, get your background trees in, start working on that foreground tree. I'm just going to add some highlights to it, and then I'll be moving on to the grass. So I hope you enjoyed this part of the painting. Thanks for painting with me, and if you would like to subscribe, just hit that subscribe button, and check me out on Facebook, Robin Pop Studio, and on the web it's robinpop.com. So see you next time. Thanks.